Philosophers Talk to Our Times. Brief notes on reading Spinoza. I say this in the long, but I'm going to say a bit of it in the short. If this is the first time you have ever read Spinoza writes in a nutty form. He writes in terms of geometric proofs. But worse than that, he writes in complicated Latin, where he has so many different words that he claims are the same, or that he clearly uses as the same. It will make you want to hit your head against the side of a wall until your brain bleeds. It gave me epilepsy because I did that. Because it is that complicated, okay? And you will always, when you are reading Spinoza, face a choice. Do you try to follow the richness of the terminology? When he slips between mode and affections, do you try to understand why they're different and why they're the same? When he says God is nature, but then clearly argues later that God and nature are distinct, do you try to understand then in what sense God and nature are one and the same, and also by implication when they are not the same? Do you try to understand the myriad things he calls the essence of man, be it desire or conatas, which is the least important but the most cited because it's the easiest to understand, the idea of a body actually existing, which is my favourite because I think it is the most complicated and the holding function for the rest, the capacity to act or power, all of which are various different points he still calls the essence of man. How do you understand that? Do you try to understand them all as one idea? Do you insert a notion of chronology into Spinoza's writing, as Jonathan Bennett does, and say, well, actually, he's just changing his mind as he's writing, which is perfectly legitimate. I just never do it. It feels like cheating to me. I like to take a book on the way the book presents itself to me, and not just simply make up a history for it, or even discover the history of its being written. Or do you, as dear old Deleuze does, import your own philosophy? Use the complexity of the language to simply import your own philosophy. Use the fact that it's a bit bamboozling in the text to say, well, yeah, it's bamboozling, but that's because you haven't heard of Bergson. Or, more realistically, you haven't read Leibniz's interpretation of all of this. Because there is a sense in which all of Deleuzian philosophy understands Spinoza through the eyes of Leibniz, who simply doesn't care about this terminology. He wants to break away from it. He wants to not understand it in order to have room for his own thoughts. He's explicit about that. How, then, do you tackle a deep philosopher? A deep philosopher who, because they're writing in geometric proofs, all the meanings of the words ramify one within the other. So that you can't just ignore the differences or the ways that he sometimes says they are the same and he sometimes moves them apart. That is the essence of the man. That is the fun and delight of reading Spinoza.